Hey, hey, yeah.
Hi, cool. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the selective conversation. On
Yeah,
today's
yeah.
show, we have Tshepo Mohoang. I don't know if I say your surname right, sir.
Mohoang.
Um, Mo
Mohoang.
Mohoang. Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much, man. Hey, yeah. So Tshepo is from Fitzburg. His hometown is Fitzburg, and he's currently at Velcom. He's a student doctor at Bongani Regional Hospital.
Yo, Dr. Tshepo, Dr. V, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Are you on lunch break or have you knocked off? Because I see you still have your gear on.
Yeah, no, I just actually got back from the hospital. Just went to see like a patient I was worried about, but
Okay.
I'm not actually working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So all the student doctors, they're not working, or are they working?
No, we're not working. All the student doctors are not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, Doctor or Mr. Tepang, Tepo, if I may put it, how is your experience being from studying this about medicine and then moving into the field, doing medicine as a profession or practically so?
Yeah. Well, it's been a great experience. So actually, I went to study medicine in Cuba for the past 5.5 years, 6 now actually. So I'm just doing my final year integration with the University of the Free State currently. So
That's
to answer
interesting.
your
That's interesting.
question, we've been doing clinical work since we were in third year. So being in the hospital setting is something that one actually gets used to as you know the years go by. So actually, it's just a great experience. It's a lot of passion and a lot of determination and hard work. And it's always good to be a helping hand to your community and to those who are actually in need, because the whole idea of us studying in Cuba is actually to come back and go to the poorest of them all to actually try to help and bring change in our communities.
Yeah, no, that's very quite
So
interesting. Sorry to cut you off, Mzu. But Cuba, what has studying in Cuba done to you than actually being a student in South Africa? How have you studied abroad and all this stuff?
Okay. I don't know if you are the fact that Cuba is a socialist country. So being a socialist country, they help you to be less that cares of the next person, you know. So the qualities of a doctor that I told you about in you. I don't know if you've realized that in South Africa, a doctor is somehow regarded as a god. You understand? But in Cuba, you're a people's person. Get what I'm saying? So it's easier for you to interact with your patients, so that you as a patient as a biopsychosocial being, meaning you look at the biological part, which is the disease, psychological part, which is the mind, and you look at the social aspect of a person, which is where they come from, how they live, and everything. So I think in Cuba, those qualities were actually, enhanced and instilled. And I selfless doctor also. That was the most important thing that I got from Cuba. Putting a patient first.
Hmm.
sure, that's actually very dope to actually think of. We've learned a lot about other countries as far as like America. We know it's a capitalist country, but it's a socialist country, you know. I wouldn't know exactly where to be a capitalist.
Yeah, it's a capitalist, yeah.
Country, right?
Yeah, I'm Soto. Very
okay.
Soto, by the way.
Very Soto. All right. What languages do you speak?
I speak Sesotho, I speak Tswana, and obviously, and then I understand your Zulu, your Pedi, your Xhosa.
And Afrikaans?
Just a bit, a little bit.
All right. I'm asking that because I'm connecting that with Cuba. I know I don't know how many languages they speak, but I do know that one of their languages is Spanish.
That's the only language they speak, yes.
Is it the only language they speak? Okay. And how important is it, like, for you to, as a doctor, to know or to be fluent in other people or society's languages? Is that an important factor?
That's a very good question. You know, as a doctor, you for you to be able to help someone, you have to understand them. You have to understand where they come from. Hence, I said a doctor is you have to be integral as a doctor. In Cuba, they have a say that says, I'm gonna say it in Spanish and then I'll translate it. It says, el médico que solo sabe de la medicina, ni de la medicina sabe, which means a doctor that only knows medicine doesn't even know medicine. So as a doctor, you have to be integral. You have to know everything. So if it was possible, I was actually supposed to know all the South African languages so that when I meet a patient that speaks, say your Zulu, I'm able to interact with them at the level that they understand me. Like I told you, the aim is to work in the most rural areas where most probably the 90% or 95% of the population that doesn't even speak English. You get what I'm saying? So if for instance, I go to KZN, I must be able to interact with the poorest of the poorest there and be able to help them and meet their needs. As I'm speaking now, I'm trying to learn sign language, which I realize that is something that, you know, as doctors we lack. People don't really care about those that are deaf, but those people are also people. So as we speak right now, I'm still like taking some online classes, just trying to learn sign language to be able to sign, to be able to assist a patient. Because when I see a person, I see a human being that I need to be able to help. You know what I'm saying? So if you do not know the language they speak, then there will be a barrier.
I know XD has a question to ask, but before we get there, I would like to ask, so as a South African Cuban doctor to be, right? I would like to know, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself practicing in a country where everyone is equal, or coming to South Africa and practicing in a country where, you know, or coming here where, you know, that doctors are idolized? You know, I'm curious to know that, like, do most of your peer doctors, you know, that are doctors to be, for lack of a better word, they see themselves coming back home as means of giving back to their communities, or do they come here because, you know what, like, being a doctor is one of those held high positions in South Africa? Do you see yourself coming back home, or do you see yourself practicing in a country where humility is the first thing that's practiced? Not to say that it doesn't exist here.
Okay, that's a good question. You know, like like you asked me, what are the other things that I learned about Cuba? One thing they also taught us is patriotism. You know, is loving your homeland. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's one other quality that we got from Cuba: loving your homeland. You know, and just being here and trying to help everyone and meeting their needs. So I'll definitely be working here, and I have no intentions of leaving anytime soon. or even go into the private sector.
All right, brother.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, and I think Mr. Mzu over there asked very, very, very good questions that I wanted to ask too. But now I want to just take it a notch down a bit. Like being a student doctor that you are, or being a doctor, if I may put it, what are the most common questions that you get around like the people you hang out with whom are not doctors, or maybe for instance your family or your home friends, like your best friends and all this stuff? What is the common question you get asked as a doctor, or that's related to medicine, if I may put it?
Okay. It's quite, funny questions. At first, when I came, so the most common questions would be, how were you able to study medicine in Spanish? Wasn't it difficult being far from your family? Stuff like that. But then, yeah, people just ask like weird questions, like maybe, aren't you afraid of blood? Um, it's just general things. I don't really get, questions per se, but I think it's just they comment the bravery mostly of going abroad and actually going to a foreign country and studying medicine, and being able to study medicine in Spanish, and just being far from your family. They don't really ask a lot of questions with regards to medicine per se. Well, they will come for free consultations, obviously, just want to know, say someone is having a nose bleeding or I have stomach aches, stuff like that. But I don't really get questions with regards to the career per se.
Okay. With the follow-up question to that is, there's a statement, né? I would like to hear what are your thoughts on it. There's a statement that says that a curious patient is a healthy patient. What are your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, that's true.
You agree with it? You don't agree with it, and what?
I agree.
Why?
So it simply means that you actually care about your health, asking questions, and and trying to find out what's actually happening with you, which is the problem that we have as South Africans. This is one problem that I realized as South Africans, that you go to the doctor listens to your chest, and then after that they give you pain pills or whatever the pills, or they write you a prescription and they tell you to go get medication. You leave the consultation room without knowing what you actually have as a person. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So you don't really know how to actually how to take care of yourself when you get home. Unlike when you are told that you have a flu due to this and that, so okay, next time I have to avoid this, I have to avoid that, I have to take this, I have to take that. So the problem that we have as South Africans, we don't really ask questions. And I don't know if you've realized, but every time you come to a consultation room, you are asked, is it the first time you are having this? Do you have any other previous diseases? Have you suffered from something else before? So if you haven't asked, your doctor won't always tell you, and which is understandable, because sometimes the doctors are busy. But I feel like it's always essential also for doctors to tell the patient, to understand, to educate the patient, because the management of a disease is not only medicating a patient, but also holistically. You have to do it holistically. You have to orientate the patient and tell them actually what's happening with their health in general.
Hey.